Wait, let me see something. If you like animation, subscribe to allocations, and like, comment. Look at the buttons when I say that, oh my god. Like, comment, subscribe. They look like that LGBTV. We got some glow. We got some glow around that. Whoa, whoa, that's funny. One thing wild about humans and how they evolve over time is seeing similar approaches to old media being used on something that didn't exist in the past. Creepypasta frequently take the good old cursed VHS trope popularized by movies such as The Ring and applied to gaming, which also brings new concepts such as level of interactivity and a mystery as to whether or not you're being attacked by whatever's possessing it or if it's just the game. Personifying aspects of the internet, having larger implications in things such as Deltarune Chapter 2, turning viruses into demons that attack your computer, like I'm Scared. It's fun and cool stuff, bro. Deities representing certain aspects is also something that's been around since Cave Boys. We couldn't figure out a better way to describe some of this weird crap that's happening, so whether you're dancing with literal animation tool skeletons after marrying Solid Snake or you're creating an entire pantheon. The other day I was drinking some mint Baileys, trying to stream with my single viewer on Christmas Day. Yeah, that sucked. Looking at other people's talent as one does when you're totally not in the most lonely and depressed generation of all. Why do I do this? Anyways, I found Anna-Logue balancing issues. It's really simple, like really simple. It's a hypothetical 3D platformer from a PlayStation 1 era. Yeah, the one company that seems to keep names of its consoles in numerical order. But regardless, despite that art style being a near-perfect recreation of that era of gaming, the animation is much less stiff and awkward and everything is bouncy and lively. I don't feel like repeating myself, so I'll show you guys. Because this one's like a PS1 style, but it's really fluid and the designs are way better than PS1 stuff. Like, look at the personality there. Look at that sleek-ass blue design. That is not PS1 design. And she fucking dead. Is this just like CGI? I think this is supposed to be game testing. Those weird things, designs, the big guys.
Maybe you made it too challenging.
Those are some wild designs. It does make the PS1 aesthetic work for it, which is very difficult because that era of design is kind of fucking ugly. Go back, look at that expression. I'm always a sucker for like one eye like being smaller than the other to emphasize like a cocked eyebrow, but also being judgmental side eye. I don't really care as much about this weird proton kid though, but it is weird how the squash and stretch on the PS1 is really good though. It's very fluid. Did she exploit a glitch? No! God, that guy's design is cool. That's a cool design too. The blue girl, the blue woman, the really tiny one, and I do love the I fucking always love the sharp skinny ass angles. And speaking of spiral, that is like one of the spiral like vertical portals. That is a lot like them. Okay, that was cute. And yeah, it's basically just game testing demigods, but aside from that, not much to go off of, right? Oh, it's kind of blowing up and the creator has already addressed that it's blowing up.
People are watching?
Oh hell nah, Schlag, I ain't watching for some weirdo robo kid who abuses the power of squash and stretch every time you bark and fetch. Nah, I'm looking at the anorexic polygonal miser's dog. Oh, they have cool names. So, what's the take home from this? There isn't much, really. It's just one standalone thing, not much to go off of, right? Right? Wrong. Community tab lore. Macho Boy is the creator of this. Project was actually pretty mysterious until researching them, and by deep research I of course mean scrolling through their community tab very slowly. I couldn't find their social media, so I'll be damned well. Honestly, with this project I wasn't terribly interested. Like, I looked nice and it was cute. It was a cute concept, just showcasing some game testing, whether it's from the perspective of a developer seeing if people can get past the stage, being represented by something abstract like risk and reward, being their ideas looking in from an outsider perspective, or if it's a player testing themselves through trial and error to find the solution. The entire series already has some deep and abstract lore. Let's circle back to the start like a spherical polygon. The concepts essentially are personifying abstract and specific parts of game creation. And the first ones we see are personification of risk and reward balancing each other like yin and yang while getting in each other's way. Now this tickles a certain itch in my brain. As a kid, you're always told how different you'll be when you're older. In terms of appreciating characterization in the boring talkie scenes, that was more predictable. However, one thing weird is that my childish creativity and overexposure to too much media actually made me more interested in abstract concepts such as these as I got a lot older. I guess growing up with so much Godzilla to the point where I found the atomic dinosaur more boring than the hook, buzzsaw, spinal laser, green and yellow, beak, build, cyclops eye, water, chicken. It might have been predictable in hindsight. My point is that the series aims to have potentially one of the most unique premises ever. And remember the thing about newer mediums being explored more and more? Well, even though these types of games are nearly 30 years old, they are complex enough that the creator, Macho Boy, is about to become a pioneer. Why I love abstract and meta concepts. I've talked a solid trillion or so times about how lame meta has been done in media, mostly due to how they neglect showing the story in favor of telling one. However, when it is show don't tell, it can be thought-provoking, even if it's a low-stake concept such as this one. If it's presented in a high-concept way, it tickles that brain of mine. I've been itching for some crazier concepts. Additionally, it can tell two stories while only showing one. Undertale's meta-narrative is a great example of this by how the characters have desire in-universe, but out of the universe as you, the player, are being confronted on why you desire to play with digital, not quite sentient creatures, but almost sentient enough to be aware. You have to think to yourself, what are you doing? This series could do something similar even if it's done in a much simpler way, showcasing concepts, using powers, or reacting to events in-game or development that are visually represented in interesting ways while implying relatable experiences that eventually you can connect with in a much larger way. Then again, looking at the description of this terrifying creature, La Creature, it could be less simple and a full-on commentary of the genre being represented by an intense platforming challenge that not only shows the physical challenge of a video game character, but the emotional challenge of the rise and fall of an entire industry. And that's why I say this is the most meta animation. Sure, you can just say how bad, insert real references here, or you can go a step further like South Park and structure your plotline around criticizing one aspect of reality, but this series is already establishing its flesh and bone to be all about the real things happening in gaming. This isn't a video game character reacting to something edgy or gooners on a couch. Control-Alt-Delete Lego Star Wars in the Shape of Loss. Who needs a battle of philosophies and concepts when the words can get out of the conversation and take a step into the ring, boys? I personally am pretty excited for this world and story. Every design is crazier than the last, and every idea stretches the mind further than the last. And then the first post they made is just Kane from the Amazing Digital Circus yassified. Yeah, I know this predate Kane. I know this video might have been a little tough to follow because it was a combination of a short with very little information on trying to research and scrap around context surrounding a project with very little social media presence, and also talking about abstract concepts like risk versus reward instead of snow miser versus heat miser, or clay woman and solid snake. Bunch of memes flashing on screen. However, if you see what's getting popular in anime and manga, there's an upsurge of high concept weirdness being explored, like lobotomy Kaizen, that show that is about a dead guy who keeps erasing concepts of the universe. Is just fucking Wonder of You was hyped up to be this big threat in JoJo, and that's just like a sub-boss. Wow, guys. Get bent. So I do hope this show gets a lot more popular. And if you agree, that means you like animation, right? Which means you'll subscribe to allocations, right? Look at the buttons. They're glowing rainbow. Comment, like, subscribe. They glow red. Isn't that cool? They glow rainbow. Those buttons, they glow rainbow. Also, another thing. Saberspark is now openly promoting it like a new indie show every time he uploads a video. So, I might be trying to help people get that on there. If you want my support and any of my fan support, even though I don't have a very big fan base, I'm sure every bit will count like a little lottery. If you got something good for me, show me now.